Okay, so I did say earlier on that there's a leak around this clutch hub seal. So what I'm going to do is going to get this cover off and replace the seal. I've removed all the bolts, all the Allen bolts from inside there. I'm just going to literally, I've given it a little tap with a nylon hammer not to damage it. It should just really pull free. There we go. Right, so that's just the back of your casing if you're interested in what's behind there. This rubber seal as well there. Make sure you could probably best replacing that. Otherwise, if you've got the existing one, make sure it's not flattened or anything. So we're going to get this over to the press and we'll press that out and press the new one in. The reason I suspect it was this one, because there's two seals here actually. There's the seal on the input shaft and there's obviously the outer one. I suspect it was the outer one because this ring here, this spacer ring, is bone dry. It's all dry and there's nothing around that, so it appears to be just the outer one. Okay, right, let's get crack on. Right, so before I get over to the press and put the new seal in, I'm going to get all this old silicone off. All I'm doing literally is giving it a rub with this blue roll, and it should actually just come off. It's the original factory stuff. See that? It should just come off, so I would avoid using anything metallic, to be honest with you. You can scratch it or shave it up. So a little bit of blue roll, dry blue roll if you can. That should rub all that off. See it all picking off, look. Right, so we're going to go around all this, get it cleaned up and make sure there's nothing inside the casing, and we'll crack on with pressing the seal in. Right, just excuse me 2 minutes everybody, this is the casing from my 916. I have to push a seal out on that also. I'm just going to this because the camera wasn't recording on this next part I'm going to show you. So I've got a 90mm by 5mm steel plate round. That's going to sit in there, it sits in there perfectly, and that's what I'm going to use to push this out. Okay, I will probably put my 1198 wheel nut tool thing on there just to distribute the weight, and that's going to push that out. If you're doing this, when it pushes it out, it will first compress down and push these lips down. Okay, I'll push those down first, and then it'll start to be tight. It will go with a pop and a bang. It will drop out, so don't worry about it, don't smash anything. Just make sure, if you're doing this in a press, that this area is not going to get, it needs to be on a flat surface at least, so it's not going to get damaged, this area. And the same when you turn this round, I've got something, 2 bits of flat metal, just to sit under here, so it's level, and you're not going to push this at an angle or anything like that, okay? Alright, back to the video. You're wondering what that surface looks like when it's out. There we go. I'm going to clean that up. I'm not going to use any sandpaper or anything like that to clean it up. You don't want to distort that surface. So this is the seal. You can just see on there if it focuses. It's got like a rubber edge around it, which helps. It's obviously the wrong way around, which helps with the sealing surface area around here. So you don't need to put. I won't put any grease in, nothing like that in this. I'm just going to actually press the whole thing. It's a press fit, what I call a press fit, so that will seal on itself. Alright. So this is my new seal, it's original Ducati part. And what we're going to do is, I'm going to gently press it in as much as I can before I go to the hydraulic press. I've got an 100mm steel plate which will cover the whole thing. What this will do, this 100mm, it'll not push the seal too far through, so this will just stop on the surface when it needs where it needs to be, basically. So what I'm going to do first is just give this a few taps just to get it going and make sure it's level all around there, then I'll press it in further. Okay. Right, so I've actually got my Ducati 1198 rear wheel nut socket on there. I just want to distribute some of that force around the whole area rather than put it to the centre. So I've got this as central as I can. I'm going to slowly watch it. Let's get my torch on, help me out as well. I'll make sure it's going down even. That feels like it's just landed, that. Lovely, so that's in there. What I'm just looking for, I've got a little pointer. What I'm just looking for is making sure this edge is all even. It's not raised up on one side. If it's raised up on one side, then it's going to cause a leak, so you need to make sure it's all even. That's why I use this 100mm plate, which obviously once that goes down, it'll mate with the casing surface and make sure that seal's pushed in where it needs to be. Okay, right, so I'm just going to give this another little clean down, make sure I've got no oil on this surface here. I'm going to fit my O-ring back round there as well, and we'll clean the engine casing down on the back and we'll seal it up and get it on. Right, so I've cleaned the surface on the engine with some blue roll and some brake cleaner. All I've done is folded the towel up and actually sprayed the brake cleaner onto the towel to wipe it off, and kept going around both surfaces, engine and the casing, until that towel was clean. Basically, we don't want any oil in here. I'm going to be using this Wins black gasket maker. This stuff is brilliant, I love it. It's a really good tube as well to squirt out. You can actually, I'm not sponsored by them, but you can turn this to flow out faster and slower as well. It's brilliant stuff is this. And what we want to be careful of is putting too much on. If we put too much on, then when we press this casing back in and bolt it up, you'll end up with like a bead of sealer, which can actually break off inside. Saying that, any sealer breaks off, it'll just end up in the sump at some point. But you can't avoid it anyway. It will squeeze out on both ends. But what we want to do is make sure we're not overloading this at all. Okay, so let's give it a go. If you want to, before you start with this, just run a bead on some flat piece of surface just to give it a test, see how it flows out. All right, let's give it a go. It's in the way there. Right. So I've got the dowel fitted in there. Make sure the dowel port is clean as well. There's no rust or shit behind it, because when you try and press this on, it won't go on tight. I've put some little bit of grease around here just so the seal goes on without being damaged. And I've put a new seal in there as well. Let's give it a go. I'm going to have to get in the way. I'm so sorry. I'm also putting the clutch cover on just to help pull in the back of it. These are the only bolts pressing the back in, so we need to get this on. Right, I'll just nip these a little bit and we'll get them torqued up, and we'll leave this for a while now to set. Right, so what I'm going to do is leave this at least 24 hours before I put oil in it. I won't be putting any oil in that because we don't want it to start pissing out again. Okay, I need to let this set 24 hours, or I might leave it a couple of days or something, just be on the safe side. Alright, I'm going to tidy this edge up as well, get rid of all the excess. It looks a bit awful. Okay, but that's a job done. Simple, isn't it?